of a normal footballing weekend.
Yeah.
It's busy, it's frantic, there's no time to rest because you've got to keep across everything. Yesterday I sat there and I was literally... I'm bored. I don't know what to do.
You can't get bored in the modern world.
No, I mean, I honestly...
You can't.
But you say that. Me and my son are right at this moment in time. We're a bit late to the party, but we've got into The Walking Dead. So we're we're into, I think, series 5 now. But obviously every
Fiction.
now... It is fiction, I'm afraid, Cass, you won't like it. But every now and then, obviously, as a teenager will, he'll be like, Mum, I'm just going to go now. I'm going to go in my room and play with my mates online or whatever. And I'm like, don't go. I want to watch something. I want to carry on watching the series. And then, honestly, normal TV I find so boring. There was nothing on yesterday. I'm not a Strictly fan, so I won't watch that. So, yeah, I was a bit, as I say, twiddling my thumbs.
Dull.
And I thought, I actually do miss... I mean, I do miss the football anyway, the regular footballing weekend because of my watching out for my own team, for example. But, yeah, I just thought yesterday was a little dull.
Yeah, well, I tell you what was fun.
Go on.
We had Mick McCarthy on yesterday,
Yes.
didn't we? We had him for an hour.
Yeah, he was great.
And I took the train journey back
You
because Mick
did.
lives downtown, and we had a right laugh on the train.
Yeah.
Like chatting about certain things and styles of football, and it made me think because there's a lot of talk, and he knows Lee Carsley, and he spoke very openly about him, really liked him, and I started to think about. And it's really interesting because there's a column by David Walsh in the paper this morning, in the Times, and it talks about the idea of Harlem Globetrotters football.
Right.
Which is a bit of a fantasy because you have to be organised. The greatest team I ever saw was Brazil 82, who didn't win the World Cup. They were amazing. They played a formation of 2-7-1 at times. They played 4-5-1. They could play a 4-2-2-2. They had this real change of identity in the way they played. And they were a Harlem Globetrotters team. And this idea of what can you do? And this is a really big point sometimes, Nat. When you add more attacking players in the team, it can be counterproductive. You can actually do less crossing, less shots, less chances in front of goal. Because we're talking about England the other day and the way that Lee Carsley said he wanted to be brave and try to, a new style. Well, there wasn't anything in the first half. You could go, well, that was entertaining. That was loads of chances. The goalkeeper made some great saves.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't that.
No,
it was
no,
counterproductive. You can make a team less attractive by trying to make it more adventurous and,
I know what you're suggesting. And is that more to do with the fact that the players hadn't had enough time to train with this new look that Lee Carsley was going for? He has spoken about the need to make changes, he says. And I know that's something you might want to talk about a little bit later on, the word changes. I'm not a big fan of it when it comes to football. But, he says that I'm wary of the fact that the last time England won anything was 1966. So we have the ability, he says, to try something different. And that's what he tried on Thursday, which I think in some ways you can give him credit for it by saying, at least you tried to do something different. Didn't work.
Gareth Southgate against Hungary about 3 years ago drew 1-1 at Wembley. He played Derek Lemieux in midfield and he had a load of bodies of attacking-minded players in front of him. They drew 1-1 at Wembley against Hungary. Okay? So expected to beat Hungary. Hungary were a decent side. And this is mentioned in David Walsh's piece. And I remember that game and a number of issues that you can have afterwards, because I talk about football a lot, Nat. So you remember some of the things that have been said in the past. Gareth Southgate attempted that. A really brave formation, attack-minded, give people what they want. And he actually pans out that you've not made yourself any better, you've actually made yourself worse.
Well, like I say, he has tried to validate why he did what he did. He says, I don't want to sit back in a month's time with regrets that I was safe. This is a great opportunity, not only for myself, but for the rest of the staff and the players to try something different. It was important that in this period, I felt that I have to be out of my comfort zone. So that's what he did. Why he chose to go with that tactical
Maybe the
lineup.
players didn't like being out of their comfort zone.
Well,
I mean, look, there's a couple of ways you could look at this. You could say England haven't won the World Cup since 66 or haven't won a major trophy since 66, which is a fair point. It's unbelievable that England haven't won a major trophy since then. That's a long time for a leading nation. But you could also make the argument, well, what that change did the other night, you lost to a team you'd never lost to.
No, that's true.
You can make that argument.
Absolutely.
Which you are not, let's get right. Greece are not a giant of European or world football now, are they?
No. But they've won a major trophy.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
Not that long ago in comparison to England, anyway. Look, Lee Carsley obviously has held press conferences ahead of this game against Finland tonight on talkSPORT in the Nations League, and he's clarified the comments that he made about returning to the England under-21 setup. The FA, of course, turned to Carsley after Gareth Southgate called time on his reign following July's Euro 2024 final defeat to Spain, and has been eyed as a potential candidate to take on the full-time role. But the former Birmingham and Everton midfielder has frequently sidestepped questions about whether he wants to become the England boss on a full-time basis, including saying, as we heard, after that defeat to Greece, he'll hopefully be returning to his role with the under-21s. Now, yesterday he was asked by talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers whether he had formally applied to replace Gareth Southgate.
No, I didn't formally apply for it, and because hopefully, no, because I've done the under-21s. I'm really happy doing my job, but you know, I'm an employee of the FA, and I was asked to take the senior team, which is a privilege. It was the proudest moment of my career so far. Really honoured with the chance to manage the senior team. I'm in a really fortunate position that I'm on the inside and I can see how much potential this team's got. I've said all along it's one of the best jobs, in world football. There's not many jobs where you've got a chance of winning. I believe the coach that comes in has got a really good chance of winning, and we deserve the best one that's out there.
But you've also said a few times the coach that comes in.
Yeah.
Do you see this as an audition? Do you actually want
definitely
the
not.
the job?
I definitely don't see this as an audition at all. I see it as simple as I was asked to take the team for 3 camps. It was totally, weren't with a view to. It was literally do your best. Try as hard as you can, and look after the players, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so it does sound as though he's certainly edging towards more of this is just a caretaker role and nothing more. Saying he doesn't see this as an audition in any way. He's just got 3 camps, so that's the 3 international breaks that he's referring to in the Nations League. But he's also in the past said things like it's a real privilege and to be the England manager, and how this was the best role that he has been given since taking on management as well. So we were talking about him off air and saying this does seem to be a lot of contradiction with some of the things that he says. It does leave us all a bit scratching our heads and wondering what direction we're going to be going in when it comes to England.
Well, we don't know if Lee wants the job.
Well, no, he doesn't make it clear in any...
It's quite vague.
It's vague, but it does feel, like I say, it's more towards I'm just happy as a caretaker and nothing more. That's what it feels like, anyway.
Yeah, it's a really high position in football as the England manager. So I can't quite get how the communication's gone on with the FA, Lee Carsley, how Gareth Southgate left his position, and it doesn't say. We talked about Liverpool the other day, and it's been a bit of a breeze, or it just seamless way of just going through them. And there was a lot of dialogue between obviously Klopp and Owen Slot. Keep saying Honey Slot because I worked with an Owen Slot.
Times, yeah.
And how it was seamless, and it moved forward quite quickly. But this England position feels very different. It feels like there's a lot of vague, murky. It just feels I'm not quite sure if he wants the job. I don't know if he wants. I don't know if he wants the job because he's not saying he wants it. He's not gone. Yeah, great opportunity. Yes, it's an interim moment for me. I'm going to give it the best shot I can. But I really would love to have the opportunity of being the England manager one day. Which
you do often find with the caretakers saying, I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. I want to be considered as a potential successor. You can still say that, but also say, but if I don't get it, I'm happy to return to the under-21s. But it doesn't seem as though that is...
Or the FA decide to go to another way. If he turns around and says, well, if the FA decide to go down a different road, fair, but, so be it.
Interestingly, in the Telegraph this morning, and of course we will go through the papers in the next hour, they are going down an exclusive route that say sources are convinced Carsley has no interest in being considered as Southgate's permanent successor. They say that members of the England setup are convinced that he does not want to succeed Southgate full time. So that's the inkling a lot of the papers are sort of getting now after the 3 games that he has been in charge, and in particular the Greece defeat.
Well, the Greece defeat. Now, if you want to again, make another issue to this. You could say, well, OK, if that was your idea of playing Greece and the way you attempted to play, why would you not do even more change and play an aggressive way again or look at different things? And then the answer is they won't do that today.
No.
There'll be a way more solid team.
Well, I think Kane's going to start.
Yeah, but it'll be a way more solid team, line up, and a more organised team. Because let's get it right, Greece were a very organised team with a lot of pace and power and made it really difficult for England. They were very good at the way they attempted to play England. And I felt early on, England could be in trouble in this game because they're offering nothing. You know, when I said about numbers and when you had too many attacking players in, the numbers were all poor for the attacking players. They didn't do with their shots or with their crossing, their, potential to score goals. It was all low.
Well, as we found out after that Greece game, Lee Carsley admitted they'd only trained about 20, 25 minutes with this false number 9 role, where presumably Jude Bellingham was training with that. Mick McCarthy, who was with us, as you mentioned, yesterday, he said, look, a lot of the blame has been laid at the door of Lee Carsley, but also the players need to take some responsibility because let's not forget, these aren't new players who've just been thrown into professional football. There is an element of they should be able to know what they are doing, even if it is such a bizarre sort of route that they went down. And it did, but it was all a complete mess, and we all know that at Wembley.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.